40 plus easy Dollar Tree summer garden ideas for every porch and patio. Classy and practical. Hello, my fellow garden dreamers and porch dwellers. Welcome back to Earthly Delights, the cozy corner where tiny seeds grow into big joy, and even the smallest patio can feel like a personal paradise. If you're someone who loves the scent of soil, the charm of handmade planters, and that quiet thrill when a plant you nurtured finally blooms, then friend, you are absolutely in the right place. Maybe you're working with a tight space or a tight budget. Maybe you're retired and finally have time to make your porch your sanctuary. Or maybe, like so many of us, you're just craving a little more beauty, a little more peace, and a little more you in your everyday environment. And guess what? You don't need a sprawling garden or a fat wallet to make it happen. Today, we're diving into 40-plus classy and practical Dollar Tree garden ideas, hand-picked and tested for anyone with a porch, patio, or sunny windowsill. These aren't just DIYs. These are small acts of transformation designed especially for you, the plant lover, the weekend tinkerer, the soul who finds joy in growing things. So grab a cool drink, settle into your favorite chair, and let's get our hands virtually dirty together. Oh, and before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to Earthly Delights so you never miss a moment of green inspiration. Ready? Let's start growing. Part 1. Vertical Gardening Wonders. If there's one thing I've learned in all my years tending to plants on porches, windowsills, and small garden nooks, it's this: when you can't grow out, grow up. Vertical gardening is a total game changer for those of us working with limited space. Whether you live in an apartment with a modest balcony, a townhome with a narrow patio, or a cottage where every inch counts, going vertical allows your plants to flourish without crowding your sanctuary. Let's start with a favorite: stackable garden towers. Dollar Tree's 3-section stacking planters might seem simple at first glance, but when you nest them one over the other, they become a sculptural centerpiece. Just slide them onto a metal rod, or even a sturdy old broomstick, and fill each section with a medley of trailing petunias, thyme, or mint. The result? A vertical bouquet that's easy on your back and stunning to behold. And best of all, it costs less than a coffee date. But why stop there? This year, I experimented with a DIY trellis wall using nothing more than Dollar Tree's mesh laundry baskets and zip ties. I mounted it on my fence and trained sweet peas and morning glories to climb. In just a few weeks, I had a lush green curtain that danced with blooms in the breeze. It made my tiny patio feel like a hidden cottage garden, and my neighbors couldn't believe it all came from a dollar store. For those of you with a love for herbs but no ground to dig into, let me tell you about the hanging pocket wall garden. Picture one of those over-the-door shoe organizers, each pocket filled with soil and seeds. Basil, parsley, cilantro, they all grow beautifully here, and you get a living spice rack right on your wall. Not only does it save space, but it also fills your air with the sweet aroma of fresh greenery. Now, maybe you have a metal railing or an old wire shelf just sitting there. Turn it into a magnetic spice rack garden. All it takes are some small magnetic containers, yes, the kind meant for organizing craft beads or paper clips, and a bit of imagination. Fill each with soil and small cuttings, then attach them to any metal surface. It's modular, it's fun, and it's surprisingly charming. Plus, when the seasons change, you can simply swap them out. Of course, we can't talk about vertical magic without returning to one of the most practical treasures of all: self-watering planters. These little geniuses take the guesswork out of daily watering. You fill the bottom reservoir, plant your favorites on top, and the system takes care of the rest. It's perfect for those weekends when you escape town or just forget to water. And with a few clever tweaks, like adding a sponge and straw system for better water distribution, you've got a low-maintenance solution with high reward. These vertical ideas aren't just about saving space. They're about reclaiming your porch or patio and making it work for you. They're about turning a blank wall or an overlooked corner into something alive, something beautiful, something uniquely yours. So whether you're layering herbs in stackable towers, coaxing vines up a basket trellis, or letting thyme trail from magnetic tins, remember this: your garden doesn't have to sprawl. It only has to grow with love and intention. Coming up next, we'll step into the twilight and discover how the right lighting can turn your evening patio into a glowing oasis of calm. Trust me, you won't want to miss what fairy lights and old jars can do when the sun goes down. Let's keep going. Part 2. Magical lighting on a budget. There's something truly special that happens when the sun dips low and your garden begins to glow. Evening falls, the heat softens, and suddenly your porch or patio transforms into a quiet retreat, a place where stories are shared, worries fade, and soft light brings everything to life in a new way. And guess what? You don't need fancy fixtures or expensive wiring to create that magic. In fact, some of the most enchanting garden lighting I've ever seen has come straight from the humble shelves of Dollar Tree, and I'm here to show you how. Let's begin with a timeless favorite, mason jar fairy lanterns. These little wonders are so easy to make and so deeply satisfying. Start with a basic mason jar. Add some polished river pebbles at the bottom. This gives it weight and a grounding touch. And then curl in a strand of battery-operated fairy lights. When lit, they flicker like fireflies caught in glass. I love lining them along porch railings or scattering them among potted plants. The gentle glow creates small pockets of warmth that invite you to linger just a little longer. Now, if you've got a few hanging planters tucked away, here's where things get romantic. Take 2 wire planters, secure them together into a globe shape, and weave fairy lights throughout the frame. Add a touch of greenery, real or artificial, and suspend them from your porch ceiling. These glowing orbs sway gently in the breeze, casting delicate shadows like a constellation all your own. It's not just lighting, it's atmosphere, it's poetry. It's the kind of subtle charm that makes people pause and smile without even realizing why. But maybe you're feeling bold, ready to try something with a bit more edge. Then you'll want to experiment with Jenga block lanterns, one of my favorite Dollar Tree hacks of all time. Using those simple wooden blocks, you can build geometric frames in whatever shape speaks to you: pyramids, towers, even abstract sculptures. Place a small battery candle inside, and you've got a modern, sculptural piece that glows from within. It's outdoor art with a gentle heartbeat. By day, it looks like minimalist decor. By night, it comes alive with light and shadow. Of course, no garden glow-up would be complete without string lights. And not just anywhere, but everywhere. If you've got a pergola, wrap the beams. If you have railings, weave them in. And if you don't have either, string them between 2 broom handles anchored in planters and create a faux archway. The moment those warm white lights flicker on, your porch becomes something else entirely. Cozy, romantic, inviting. And here's one more idea. Simple, surprising, and so satisfying. Bamboo skewer candle holders. Take a handful of long bamboo sticks, cluster them upright in a small pot filled with sand or pebbles, and nestle a tea light in the center. The bamboo creates a soft fence that flickers with candlelight, and when grouped in threes, they look like something from a designer catalog. These little lighting touches aren't just decorative. They shift the energy of your space. They whisper, "Stay a while," in the quietest way. They make your porch feel like a haven, your patio like a secret garden, and they tell your guests and you that this space was meant to feel special. So whether it's the shimmer of fairy lights in mason jars, the gentle dance of orbs overhead, or the architectural elegance of block-built lanterns, remember, it doesn't take a fortune to light up your world. It just takes a bit of imagination, a few budget-friendly supplies, and a heart that sees potential in the ordinary. Now, are you ready to sit back with a cold drink and admire your glowing oasis? Because up next, we're turning our attention to furniture and displays, those gorgeous practical pieces that elevate your plants and your space. Trust me, you're going to want to see how a pizza pan and a laundry basket can become your new favorite side table. Let's keep going. Part 3. Chic furniture and stylish displays. Now that your garden is glowing with soft, twinkling lights, let's talk about something that doesn't always get the attention it deserves, but absolutely transforms how your space feels. Furniture and displays. Because it's not just about the plants, it's about how you experience them. How you sit with them, admire them, and showcase their beauty. And let me tell you, with just a few clever ideas from Dollar Tree and a sprinkle of imagination, you can create furniture that looks high-end without breaking the bank. Let's start with one of the simplest and most stunning transformations I've ever tried: the wire basket plant stand. If you've seen those basic, waist-high wire baskets in the cleaning aisle, you probably walked right past them. But flip two of them bottom to bottom, glue them together, and wrap the whole thing in nautical rope. And suddenly, you've got a tall, textured pedestal that looks straight out of a coastal boutique. Top it with a painted pizza pan, and voila! An elegant display stand, perfect for showcasing your favorite fern or flowering plant. It lifts your greenery to eye level, adds height to your arrangements, and gives your patio an intentional, curated look. And speaking of pizza pans, let's take it a step further. Combine those same wire baskets, maybe in gold for a bit of glam, with a sturdy base and a pizza pan top, and you've got yourself a custom-made side table. It's just the right size for your morning coffee, your afternoon lemonade, or a good gardening book you can't put down. These DIY tables have quickly become a staple on my porch. Lightweight, stylish, and entirely your own. What more could we ask for? Now, if you're like me and enjoy entertaining outdoors, whether it's a casual chat with a neighbor or a sunset snack with friends, then you'll love the charm of handmade napkin rings. With just some twine, faux flowers, ribbon, or a little raffia, you can create sets of napkin rings that make even a paper napkin feel like part of a five-star table setting. Patriotic for the 4th of July, pastels for spring brunches, or warm earth tones for early fall. It's those little touches that tell guests, "You matter. I made this beautiful just for you." But what about your plants? Don't they deserve a little spotlight of their own? That's where the herb display ladder comes in. You can craft one using simple wooden crates from Dollar Tree, stacked or leaned against a wall. Fill each tier with herbs and labeled pots, add a few hooks for scissors or a towel, and suddenly you've created your own mini apothecary. Basil, thyme, oregano, all within arm's reach and displayed like a living piece of art. And here's a fun twist for anyone who loves storage that looks good while working hard: the crate bench. Take a few sturdy wooden crates, secure them side by side, and top them with a cushion or folded Dollar Tree blanket. Now you've got a seat, a storage spot for gardening gloves or outdoor pillows, and a stylish conversation piece all in one. It's especially great for small porches where every inch needs to pull double duty. Each of these pieces isn't just functional, they tell a story. They say, this porch belongs to someone who cares, someone who creates, someone who finds beauty in the process. That's what I love most about DIY garden furniture. It isn't just about saving money, it's about pouring love and creativity into your space and watching it bloom right alongside your plants. And as your new tables and stands begin to take their place in your garden sanctuary, you'll start to feel it, that sense that everything belongs, that the plants, the light, the furniture, it all reflects you. Next, we'll dive into small space garden magic, ideas that will have you rethinking every nook and cranny of your porch. From mirror illusions to pool noodle hacks, get ready to discover just how much possibility is hiding in your own backyard. Let's keep growing. Part 4. Small Space Garden Magic. Here's something I know about many of you tuning in. You don't have acres of land or wide wraparound porches. Maybe you've got a small apartment balcony. Maybe your garden is really just a cozy corner with 2 chairs and a hanging plant. But let me tell you this. Small is not a limitation. It's an invitation. An invitation to be creative, to make every inch count, and to turn even the tiniest space into a lush, life-giving oasis. Let's begin with a trick that's not only practical, but also incredibly satisfying: the pool noodle planter booster. Sounds silly, right? But hear me out. Large planters can be a pain, literally. They're heavy, they demand a ton of soil, and moving them around can feel like a gym workout. But when you slice up a pool noodle and layer the pieces in the bottom of your pot, you instantly cut down on weight, reduce the amount of soil needed, and improve drainage. The result? Elevated plants that look fuller, stand taller, and keep your back and your budget happy. Now, once your plants are placed just right, you might want to do something unexpected, something that opens the space visually. That's where mirror magic comes in. Yes, you heard that right. Mirrors in the garden. I found a few framed mirrors at Dollar Tree, and I hung one at the end of my narrow patio. Suddenly, it was like the whole space doubled. It reflected light, added depth, and made my modest garden feel expansive. Strategically placed mirrors bounce sunlight into shadowed corners and reflect your most beautiful blooms right back at you. It's an illusion, yes, but it's also pure design genius. And while we're on the subject of placement, let's talk about window box styling. Even if you don't have real window ledges, you can mount lightweight rectangular planters along porch railings or balcony edges. The trick is all in the layering. Start with tall, upright plants in the back, medium ones in the center, and trailing beauties like ivy or sweet potato vine in front. The result? A cascade of color and texture that feels lush and intentional. Add a coconut liner or a touch of moss for that finished garden magazine look. It's a small space solution that creates a big impact. Now, if you're someone who loves customizing every detail, and I know many of you do, then you'll adore the process of painting your own terracotta pots. There's just something deeply satisfying about taking a plain clay pot and turning it into a work of art. You can use Dollar Tree craft paint to match your porch palette, create patterns, or even experiment with ombre techniques. I once painted a whole set in various shades of sage green and dusty rose. It completely changed the vibe of my herb garden. Just seal the paint with a weather-resistant spray, and your creations will last through the seasons, rain or shine. And for those of you who love clever, space-saving ideas with a twist, here's one you might not expect: planter pouches made from reusable shopping bags. Yes, the kind you see at checkout with cute seasonal designs. Line them with plastic, add floral foam or soil, and they become flexible, lightweight containers that hang easily on railings or hooks. Patriotic in July, sunflower-filled in August, and plaid and pine cones by fall. They're seasonal, stylish, and collapsible, perfect for renters or anyone who likes to change things up with the breeze. You see, creating a garden isn't about the space you have. It's about the relationship you build with it. Every little adjustment, every inch of intention, brings life to corners you might have ignored before. These hacks aren't about cutting corners, they're about expanding your possibilities. So whether you're lifting your plants with pool noodles, painting pots in colors that make your heart sing, or letting mirrors reflect the beauty you've built, know this: small space gardening is not second best. It's an art form. A way to say, this little space is mine, and I've made it magical. And the best part? We're not done yet. Up next, we're adding a touch of enchantment, the kind that sparks smiles, stirs the imagination, and turns any porch into a storybook scene. Get ready for fairy gardens, wind chimes, and more. You're gonna love what's coming next. Let's keep going. Part 5: Whimsy and Enchantment. Now that we've laid the foundation with vertical gardens, soft lighting, and creative furniture, it's time to sprinkle in a little bit of what I like to call garden magic. You know what I mean. Those charming touches that don't just look pretty, but make you feel something the moment you see them. A sense of play, a sense of wonder, a sense that maybe, just maybe, your garden has a bit of a soul. Let's begin with one of the most delightful projects you'll ever try: the fairy garden. I remember the first time I created one. It started with a few mini toadstools and a tiny house tucked in a pot of ivy. Within a week, I had friends and neighbors leaning in for a closer look. "Did you make this?" they'd ask, eyes wide. And the answer was yes, and it was easier than it looks. Dollar Tree offers all the little pieces you'll need: miniature animals, fairy houses, little fences, even tiny teacups. Nestle them into a pot of moss and low-growing plants, create a pebble path, maybe a mirror pond. Then just stand back and watch the magic unfold. These tiny worlds invite curiosity, especially from grandchildren and visitors who will always spot something new. Now, if you're looking to take the magic skyward, let's talk about hanging lanterns made from old planters. Wire hanging baskets can be joined together into spheres and filled with fairy lights to create glowing orbs that sway in the wind. Add artificial vines or ribbons to enhance the effect, and suddenly your porch is lit like a woodland wedding. It's whimsical, it's romantic, and it takes less than 10 minutes to put together. Whether you hang them from a pergola, tree limb, or balcony ceiling, they bring a dreamy, otherworldly glow to your evenings. But whimsy doesn't always have to come from lights. Sometimes it arrives in sound. That's where handmade wind chimes come in. Picture this: a handful of old metal spoons, colorful beads, and sturdy string, Hang them from an embroidery hoop or a strong stick. When the breeze rolls through, the gentle clinking becomes your garden's music. It's calming, it's personal, and you get to choose the tone, bright and cheerful or soft and meditative. One of my favorite variations uses vintage keys and painted shells. Every time it chimes, it feels like the garden is speaking back to you. Now let's ground that energy a bit with painted garden stones. This one's a favorite for families, especially with children, but I promise, it's just as enjoyable for adults. Gather smooth river stones from Dollar Tree and paint them with plant names, affirmations, or just cheerful patterns. I like to write messages on mine. You've got this, breathe here, or bloom in your own time. Scatter them around the base of your planters, line a pathway, or tuck one into a flower pot for someone to discover. They're like little notes from your garden, reminding you to slow down and enjoy the moment. And finally, let's not forget one of the most surprising and magical creations of all, the firefly jar. Take a glittered jar, fill it with tiny LED lights, and you'll have something that looks like it's holding captured stars. These jars glow softly on tabletops, railings, or even nestled in flower beds. I like to group them in odd numbers, 3 or 5, to create glowing clusters that look like they belong in a fairy tale. You can even add a little tulle or lace to the lid for a soft vintage vibe. These touches, light, sound, story, and surprise, aren't just for decoration. They bring your space to life. They invite you and your guests to feel something every time you walk outside. A moment of nostalgia, a breath of calm, a smile, without even knowing why. And isn't that what we're really after? Not just a garden that grows plants, but one that grows joy. So, as you add your fairy doors, string your lanterns, and let your wind chimes sing, know this: you're not just decorating, you're creating a little world. A place where imagination meets intention, and it's beautiful. Next, we'll get a little more practical again. But don't worry, the charm stays with us. Because up next, we're diving into clever ways to organize, label, and simplify your gardening routine, all while keeping your porch as pretty as ever. Stick with me. The magic is still unfolding. Part 6. Functional beauty and organization. Now that your garden has a little sparkle, a little charm, and a whole lot of personality, let's shift gears. Just a bit. Because as much as we all love the whimsy, there's something deeply satisfying about a garden that not only looks beautiful, but works beautifully too. You know what I mean? The feeling of reaching for your shears and actually knowing exactly where they are. The quiet pride in labeled herbs. The joy of walking onto your porch and seeing everything in its place. Looking intentional, not cluttered. And believe it or not, this kind of harmony is not only achievable, it's downright affordable. Let's begin with something I swear by, a garden tool organization station. This one might sound like a big project, but with just a few items from Dollar Tree, you can build a setup that's both practical and charming. Think hooks, small metal buckets, hanging bins, even magnetic strips. Mount everything on a piece of painted wood or an old shutter panel and arrange it just like you would your kitchen tools. Gloves here, scissors there, twine neatly wrapped and ready. Add a little towel and a bottle of hand sanitizer, and suddenly, gardening becomes a smoother, more joyful experience. It's not just about storage, it's about creating a rhythm for your time outdoors. And speaking of rhythm, let's talk about how to keep your herbs organized and, dare I say, adorable. That's where herb labels come in. Whether you prefer smooth river rocks or wooden craft sticks, it's the personal touch that makes this project so special. Write the names in waterproof marker: basil, lavender, oregano, or if you're feeling fancy, use vinyl lettering. I've even seen people add quick harvest tips on the back. Best before flowers bloom, or cut at the base for fuller growth. When my grandkids visit, they love helping water the mint for lemonade, or the rosemary for potatoes. It becomes a learning moment, a bonding moment, a memory in the making. Now let's say you like your messages to change with the seasons. That's where seasonal welcome signs steal the show. With Dollar Tree's wooden letters, blank plaques, and paints, you can create beautiful porch signs that speak directly to your mood or the month. Hello sunshine in June. Garden friends gather here in August. Or a simple welcome with floral vines dancing around the edges. And the best part? You don't have to make a new one every time the season changes. Just paint over the old, or better yet, Use chalkboard paint for messages you can change as often as you'd like. It's thoughtful, it's customizable, and it tells everyone who visits, this space was made with care. But organization doesn't stop at labels and signs. One of my favorite hidden gems is the tin can holder wall, a brilliant way to store seed packets, plant food, or tiny tools. Just clean out a few empty cans, decorate them with rope or paint, and attach them to a piece of reclaimed wood. Hang it up, fill the cans, and you've got an organizer that looks more like wall art than storage. It's the kind of thing that sparks joy every time you reach for your gardening gloves and find them right where they belong. And here's one more fun addition to your organizational setup: a garden mailbox. Yes, a little Dollar Tree mailbox mounted right by your garden space. It's perfect for stashing notes, plant markers, spare seed packets, or even your favorite pruning shears. I've even used mine to leave surprise notes for friends who come by to borrow herbs or drop off seedlings. It's a charming, unexpected detail that adds both function and delight. When we bring order to our outdoor spaces, we're not taking away from the creativity. We're giving it room to breathe. Just like a well-pruned rosebush, a well-organized garden gives more in return. Less time searching, more time planting. Fewer frustrations, more peaceful moments. And isn't that the kind of experience we're all craving? So whether it's with labeled herbs that whisper their names, buckets of tools that wait like old friends, or a hand-painted sign that changes with your mood, these little touches build something bigger. A garden that supports you, a space that works for you, a home that feels like home. Next, we're turning our attention to the showstoppers, the planters that steal glances and make your neighbors wonder where you shop. From rustic whiskey barrels to golden wire stands, get ready to elevate your plants and your style. Let's keep growing together. Part 7. Planters that wow. Now let's shift the spotlight to the real stars of any porch or patio, the planters. Because while a healthy plant is always beautiful, the way you present it can completely change the way it's perceived. The right container doesn't just hold your plant, it elevates it, frames it, and tells a story about the space you've created. And here's the best part: you don't need designer pots or boutique planters to get that wow effect. With a few simple tricks, and yes, a few budget finds from Dollar Tree, you can make your garden look like it was curated by a stylist. Let's begin with something rustic, charming, and oh so versatile: the whiskey barrel planter. These beauties are one of Dollar Tree's seasonal treasures, and they instantly give off that old-world cottage feel. The textured, weathered look adds age and authenticity to your space, even if you just bought it yesterday. I like to use mine as statement pieces by the front door, planted with ivy, pansies, or lavender, or group 3 together in different sizes to create a layered garden corner that feels lived in and loved. Now, from rustic to coastal, we're talking about the rope wrap planter makeover. If you've ever looked at a plastic pot and thought, this could be better, you're not wrong. Wrap that same container with thick nautical rope, hot glue it in place, and suddenly you've got something that looks like it came from a high-end seaside boutique. The texture is warm and natural, the vibe is breezy and elegant, and it pairs beautifully with both flowering plants and simple greens. It's one of those transformations that people can't quite believe cost under $5. But if you want something with more height, more drama, and more visual interest, then let me introduce you to gold wire basket plant stands. Flip them upside down, add a stabilizing top, like a painted Dollar Tree plate, or even a plastic tray, and you've created an instant pedestal for your plant. The gold finish reflects sunlight during the day and soft lantern light at night. Stack them at different heights to create a tiered effect, or use them in corners to lift trailing plants so they cascade down like green waterfalls. Now, maybe you like things a little more playful, a little more seasonal. That's where patriotic tote bag planters come in. Yes, actual shopping bags. Dollar Tree's seasonal fabric totes, especially the red, white, and blue ones, make perfect soft-sided planters. Just add a plastic liner, some floral foam or potting soil, and your favorite artificial or real blooms. They're lightweight, easy to move, and when the holiday passes, you can simply fold them up and store them flat. It's festive, it's functional, and it's fabulous for renters or anyone who loves changing themes throughout the year. And here's a hidden gem I absolutely adore: painted cinder block mini gardens. Stack Dollar Tree cinder-style blocks in creative arrangement. Think single rows, T-shapes, or even tiny staircases. Paint them to match your porch theme, or let them stay neutral for an industrial chic look. Then plant inside the openings. Succulents, herbs, or even small annuals look incredible popping out of those geometric shapes. It's structure and softness, all in one. These planters do more than just hold plants. They amplify them. They give your green babies a stage to shine on. Whether it's the rustic charm of a whiskey barrel or the modern lines of a gold wire stand, each container becomes a visual anchor, something that draws the eye and says, "This space was designed with intention." And the beauty of it all? You've done it yourself. You've turned simple materials into striking features. You've layered in personality, color, and depth without spending a fortune. Your porch, your patio, your little backyard haven, it's now a gallery of living art. And we're not finished yet. Up next, we'll tie it all together with seasonal transitions, themed zones, and water features that bring motion, calm, and reflection into your garden space. So don't go anywhere. The best is still blooming. Let's keep going. Part 8. Creative Themes and Seasonal Transitions. Now that your planters are standing tall and your greenery is blooming with pride, it's time to bring in the final layer: the heartwarming themes, the soft seasonal touches, and the little details that make your garden feel like it evolves with you. Because a truly enchanting space doesn't stay the same year-round. It flows with the seasons, it reflects your moods, and it celebrates the passage of time with grace and beauty. Let's begin with one of my favorite low-cost ways to refresh any space: seasonal cushion covers. You don't need to replace your whole set of outdoor furniture to give your porch a new personality. A simple fabric change can work wonders. I've taken basic outdoor cushions and wrapped them with cheerful summer patterns from Dollar Tree: lemons in June, sunflowers in August, and warm plaid in September. It takes just a few minutes, but suddenly, the whole space feels alive again. Add a little weather-resistant batting underneath if you want extra comfort, and you've got a seat that invites you to linger, day or night. But comfort is only part of the story. Let's talk theme garden zones. A little idea with a big payoff. Maybe you create a butterfly corner with milkweed and zinnias, plus a hanging sign that reads, "Pollinator Paradise." Or a calming herb nook where lavender and sage meet a small wooden bench, a place just for tea and reflection. One of my friends even made a miniature meditation bench using Dollar Tree crates and a yoga mat slice, nestled between two potted palms. It's these tiny, themed corners that make your space feel thoughtful and whole, no matter how big or small. Now here's something truly unexpected: a mini fire bowl centerpiece. You take a simple Dollar Tree metal container, fill it with river rocks and sand, and nestle in a few tiki-style candles. Light them as the evening cools, and suddenly your table becomes the center of warmth and conversation. It's cozy, it's safe, and it gives off just enough flicker to make every gathering feel intimate. I've used it for solo reading nights and for porch dinners with friends, and it never fails to make the moment feel special. Of course, no seasonal transition would be complete without a nod to evergreen elegance, and that's where topiary bowls shine. Pair faux boxwood balls with whiskey barrel planters or gold stands, and you've got instant sophistication. There's something timeless about a crisp, rounded topiary that doesn't wilt, doesn't shed, and looks picture-perfect every day of the year. Secure them with floral foam and a wooden dowel, cover the base with decorative moss, and watch how they bring structure and polish to your space. I especially love them flanking an entryway or anchoring the corners of a patio. And if you want a plant that practically takes care of itself while still looking fabulous, try a succulent container garden. These hardy little beauties thrive in shallow containers, love the heat, and rarely complain if you forget to water. Mix different textures, spiky, rosette, trailing, and use color groupings like silver and blue or pink and green for extra impact. Dollar Tree's self-watering containers work surprisingly well for succulents, giving them just enough moisture to thrive without becoming soggy. Finally, let's end with a touch of elegance that's as fluid as it is peaceful. Floating flower displays. Find a shallow metal or plastic tray, fill it with water, and float blooms across the surface. Add a few drops of food coloring for a tinted look, or toss in floating candles for romantic evening ambiance. These displays are so easy, yet so impactful. They reflect light, invite birds, and add a sense of serenity that's hard to explain until you sit beside one. I love changing the flowers based on what's blooming. Camellias in spring, marigolds in summer, mums in fall. It becomes a living reflection of the season. Each of these ideas, soft cushions, themed corners, gentle water features, they all come together to tell a bigger story. A story that says, this space grows with me. It changes, it adapts, it welcomes. It doesn't need to be perfect, just intentional. And that's what I hope this whole journey has reminded you. That creating beauty in your space isn't about doing everything at once. It's about noticing the light, listening to the wind, and adding one lovely detail at a time. But before we wrap up, I have a few final words to leave you with, because the journey doesn't end here. In fact, the best part might just be what comes next. So stay with me, because we're about to close this chapter with heart, gratitude, and a gentle call to keep growing. Let's head to the final part together. A garden that grows with you. So here we are, dear friends, at the end of our journey, but truly, just the beginning of yours. We've stacked planters high, painted pots with heart, wrapped old baskets in rope, and lit our porches with jars full of stars. We've carved out quiet corners, built storybook fairy gardens, and found ways to bring beauty into even the smallest spaces. And we've done it all without spending more than a few dollars, and with more love than money ever could buy. But what I hope you remember most is this. Your garden is not just about the plants. It's about you. It's about creating a space that reflects your joy, your seasons, your growth. Every flower, every stone, every glowing lantern tells your story. If this video has sparked even one new idea, one tiny moment of inspiration, then my heart is full. And if you haven't already, I'd love to have you join our growing community here at Earthly Delights. Subscribe, leave a comment, share your own ideas. Let's keep inspiring each other. Until next time, keep tending gently to your garden, your home, and your heart. I'll see you again soon.